All right, good afternoon. I'm going to call to order Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners Committee of the Whole meeting for June 17th, 2025. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler.
Here.
Commissioner Mazer.
Here.
Commissioner Morales.
Present.
Commissioner Ray. Chair Strebs.
Here.
Vice Chair Taylor.
Here.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Here.
Commissioner DeLue.
Here.
Commissioner Gisler.
Here.
9 present.
Thank you, Clerk. We'll go to item 2 on the agenda, which is the opportunity for public comment. So today, public comment can be made in person by joining us at the podium or by phone. If you're attending virtually, you can call 855-925-2801 and enter the meeting code 10748 and then press *3 to join the speaker queue. Callers may request to join the speaker queue at any time before the final public comment period ends. You'll be permitted to speak at the specific public comment session which you have requested to join. Speakers will be recognized in the order their requests are received. You have up to 3 minutes to address the board on any topic. Please give us your name, where you're from. This is an opportunity to provide input in a professional and respectful manner. Do we have any members of the public present wishing to make comment? Welcome.
Good afternoon, Jane Ghosh, President and CEO of Discover Kalamazoo. I wanted to speak today in appreciation of the Kalamazoo County Treasurer's Office. As I think you know, they've just recently started a new accommodations tax system for the remittance of accommodations taxes. And one of the reasons among several other reasons, one of the reasons they switched to the new system was for greater visibility into short-term rentals like Airbnbs and VRBOs. Those short-term rentals are also subject to the Kalamazoo County accommodations tax. It's been very difficult to have visibility into them. With this new system, now we can start to see the revenue coming in from those short-term rentals, and many of them have now registered in the system. There have been 20 owners of Airbnbs and VRBOs who through June have collected and remitted those accommodations taxes. And now that they are compliant with the accommodations tax, as with other partners, we've sent them a welcome packet from Discover Kalamazoo so that you can create listings on our website and start to get the services that Discover Kalamazoo offers, including leads. And we've let our hotel partners know about this as well, because that's been one of their concerns, is it hasn't been an even playing field that between short-term rentals and the hotels. And one of the examples of events where people do stay at short-term rentals is the event that just happened this past weekend, which is the United Kennel Club Premier National Dog Show, which is at Kalamazoo County Parks and Expo Center, at the Expo Center there. And our team was there staffing info tables. And in prior years, when we asked them where they're staying, and they say they're staying in an Airbnb, that's always been a little bit gut-wrenching to us. And now when they tell us they're staying at Airbnbs, we know that it's a level playing field, and that both the county parks and Discover Kalamazoo, will benefit from those stays, and that the Airbnbs have skin in the game, because it's the accommodations tax that enables us to service events like the United Kennel Club. So shout out to the county treasurer's office for this. It's going to be a game changer for us and county parks, I believe. So thank you.
Great, thank you for sharing that. Is there anyone else wishing to make public comment? And do we have, please come forward and join us. You see a little button with the person on it on the podium. You turn that on to turn your mic on. Yep, press right in front of you, little person. There you go.
Thank you.
You got it.
I'm Andrea McCubbin. I live in Galesburg. I'm currently the Kalamazoo County 4-H Leaders Council President. I'm the representative for Leaders Council to the Fair Council. I also am a superintendent for a couple of the 4-H projects, and I'm a community club leader in Galesburg. I just want to raise an issue. I know there was not a lot of transparency on what was happening with the fair this year. As it turned out, MSU Extension is running the whole show. It's going to be a 4-H showcase. We are having some issues being able to use the 4-H barns, naming number 19 and number 20, which is the former dairy barn and the former 4-H draft horse barn. And we may have to rent tents, which I don't understand why we have those barns and we can't use them. If there's a safety concern, Why can't it be corrected? We had a safety concern last year, and in a year's time, it still hasn't been corrected. Or why can't we use the Expo Center? We have a beautiful building, and so far we're having to have our still exhibit judging outside on the 4-H mall, which we did in 22 or 23, and the judges and the still exhibit judges hated it. We got nothing but negative feedback, even from the 4-Hers. It was an extremely warm day. They were out in the sun. We don't have a backup plan right now if it's rain or inclement weather. If it's windy, that damages the children's projects. And I'm just very frustrated. A lot of the parents are frustrated. The Livestock Association people are frustrated. We have a beautiful building. We have multiple barns. We have 2 barns. Now they are not empty. We have offered that even on a work day, we would help empty those out. But I got 3 days notice to have a bunch of stuff out of the red barn, which was built by the Livestock Association in 1990. Got an email on Friday, got confirmation on Monday that all of that stuff had to be out by Wednesday afternoon because of the dog show. That contract was signed a long time ago. And last fall, we had agreed with the parks director that if we left our items in, all pushed up to the south wall, based on how the dog show and the hot rod show used that building, no problem. So why in 3 days' time did we have to vacate all of our stuff out of there? They allowed us to have 3 heavy duty items in there, but it took 2 pickup trucks and 2 trailers to load that stuff in and take it down to another barn. It makes no sense to me in 3 days' time what changed between last August and the dog show that had been on the books for quite a while. So I'm just voicing my frustration, speaking for many of the livestock superintendents, that we have barns that aren't going to be allowed for us to use, which we don't understand why, and why we can't use the Expo Center. So I'm just sharing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else wishing to make public comment? Dina, do we have anyone online?
Chair, we do not.
Thank you for that. All right, we will now close public comment. We're going to move to item 3, review of accounts payable and payroll disbursements with Finance Director Post.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Board of Commissioners. We have an accounts payable claims list totaling $3,355,759.72 is presented for review. Of this total, the Board of Commissioners asked to approve claims totaling $2,379,570.73. Payroll disbursements totaling $4,296,038.61 are presented for the June 6th general and June 13th elected payrolls. That being said, we welcome any questions from the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Director. Do we have any questions from Commission? Vice Chair?
Sorry, really quick. I wasn't going to have a question, but the discrepancy between what the board approves and what's on the claims list. You said we're approving 2,700,000.
Yep.
And then the claims list was 3,200,000. So what is the discrepancy? How come we're not approving?
Yeah. So great question. So there are select funds such as the Child Care Fund, Brownfield, Drain District Fund, statutorily that we report, but the board technically does not.
Okay, it's always been off. It just seemed like it was more than usual. Okay, thank you.
Any others? Right, seeing no more. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to item 4. It's our monthly investment report with Chief Deputy Treasurer Tyler White. Welcome, Tyler.
Thank you, Chair. As of May 31st, the county's investment portfolio had a par value balance of $157,993,155.65 and a market value of $156,998,595.44, which makes for a mark-to-market variance between our par values and our market values of just under $1 million. It's $994,560.21. which is a decrease of $502,169.04. So we dropped in value about $500,000 from April to May. I would like to remind everybody that our mark-to-market variance only impacts our bottom line if we were to liquidate our portfolio, and we have no plans of doing so. Please don't liquidate our portfolio. For the month of May, our portfolio earned $672,211.57 on an average daily balance of $165,709,764.61. All of that's for an effective rate of return on the county's investments of 4.78%. Rate of returns inclusive of all realized gains, losses, amortization, and of this, $427,138.37 relates to the general fund and budget stabilization pools available for active use. For the year, our portfolio has earned $3,174,119.69 on an average daily balance of $171,747,254.56. For the year, we have an effective rate of return on our investments of 4.47%. And like our monthly number, it includes amortization of premiums, maturities, realized gains, losses. And of the $3.17 million we've earned for the year, $2,031,000 relates to the general fund. Just about $28,000 relates to budget stabilization fund. If we assume the rest of the year follows a similar trend as the first 5 months of the year, we're on track to earn $7.5 million for 2025. And for our inflation update, so inflation over the last 12 months for May was 2.4%. That's up from 2.3% in April, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Our 4.78% rate of return for the month is higher than inflation. We experienced a 2.38% net gain in purchasing power during May. May's inflation was spread across the following categories. Food was up 2.9%, energy commodities or fuel down 11.6%, utilities up 6.8%, of which electricity 4.5%, gas is up 15.3%, shelters up 3.9%, transportation up 2.8%, medical services up 3%, and other commodities, so vehicles, apparel, medical commodities, up 0.3%. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions on investments. Thank you.
Seeing none, Deputy Treasurer, thank you so much for your work.
Thanks so much.
Excellent. All right, next we're going to move to item 5. We have a number of other items. We'll begin first with presentation from Jody Rolfe from Ascension Borges Hospital and James Rutherford, our Health Officer Director. We're going to hear about our community health needs assessment. Please join us.
Good afternoon.
Good, welcome to you.
Thank you. I'm Jody Rolfe, and I am the Community Benefit Manager for Ascension, Michigan. And part of my role is to facilitate the development of our community health needs assessments for all of our Ascension, Michigan hospitals, which of course includes Ascension Borges Hospital here in Kalamazoo County. So I wanted to do kind of an overview, and then Jim is going to help follow up with what happens after this report is published. And we're going to share some of the overarching themes and findings and conclusions. So if you go to the next slide. First, I want to just, if you're not familiar with what a CHNA or a community health needs assessment is, it is part of the Affordable Care Act that all nonprofit hospitals are required to conduct a community health needs assessment or CHNA every 3 years. It is in part to keep our tax exempt status, to show what we're doing in the community that deserves a tax exempt status, but also to help us better understand the needs of our communities. And then once we have completed that report, the next step will be what is called an implementation strategy. And then that implementation strategy report that we will be publishing in the fall under Beacon Health will be to look at those prioritized needs and make action steps as to what the hospital will do to address those needs. This year, as we did last year, we did collaborate on this report with Bronson Healthcare, as well as the Family Health Center, and of course, the Kalamazoo County Health and Community Services. Bronson, of course, is also required to do a health needs assessment every 3 years. So obviously it makes sense for us to do this in collaboration together. And that has worked really well the last couple of cycles. If you'll go to the next slide. Oh, that's okay. There we go. So we started the process back in the spring, actually, of 2024, talking about a budget, confirming who is going to be part of our collaborative in the work, putting out RFPs for consultants to help us with the work. We also looked at the previous CHNA, what worked really well, what do we need to do differently during this next cycle. And then, of course, looked at strategies for what kind of indicators, what kind of data are we going to collect based on the previous cycle, what's out there, what makes sense. We started collecting data late summer, early fall, and that included looking at secondary data or existing data that was available to us through a multitude of sources, as well as conducting primary data, which is community input, and that includes focus groups, stakeholder interviews. We did a community survey this year for Kalamazoo County. Of course, after that, we sat down with the consultants and reviewed all of the data as a collaborative group of individuals and really looked at, I would say we weighted the community input more so than the secondary data. More so because obviously the community data was more important to us, but also secondary data tends to lag in terms of how current that data is. So we wanted to make sure the report was weighting the community input. We spent a lot of time prioritizing from a long list of probably a dozen or so identified community needs down to a list of 6 significant needs. We spent 2 separate sessions reviewing data, going through some evidence-based methodologies for prioritization and what that looks like. We used some pretty major criteria to narrow that list down, and I'll kind of go through that a little bit with you. And we just finalized the report in April, so just a couple of months ago. The Ascension Borges Board approved it in April, and after a few more months, the Bronson Board will approve theirs. They're on a different cycle for the IRS than we are, but we still collaborate, obviously, together on the report. Next slide, please. Just to give you an overview of what we collected in terms of primary data, you can see that we had focus groups, and I will also say that the Western Michigan University School of Medicine, their population health division was our primary data consultant, so they did a lot of the data collection in terms of primary data. They conducted the majority of the focus groups. They did a lot of stakeholder interviews. They helped us develop the community survey, and then of course all of our partners helped to distribute that survey. So that ran, right after Christmas, right before Christmas through the end of January. You can see we had a few gaps in collection of primary data. We had very minimal data from seniors in terms of senior organizations and almost none from actual community members who are seniors. We also had a little bit of a gap in nutrition data. Overall, we had a pretty good subset of primary data though. Next slide, please. For secondary data, we used the SEMHA, which is the Southeast Michigan Health Association, and they assisted us with looking at over 90 different indicators that we looked at over the 6 domains that you can see on the screen there. And then we also took into consideration some of the criteria on the right. We wanted to be sure we were looking at health disparities. We wanted to look at things that were trends that were worsening over time. Previous priorities, we didn't want to start from scratch. We wanted to take the CHNA that was developed just 3 years ago and start with some of the needs there and look at those and see if those were the same. Are they getting worse? Are they getting better? So lots of things were taken into consideration, but we also used a lot of sources. So SEMHA used everything from census data to the health department data to state health department data, county health rankings. We used as many local reports as possible. ISK had just recently done a health report, so we were able to use a lot of local data as well. Next slide, please. So once we had our plans for data collection, we wanted to be sure when it came time to prioritize that we used the set of criteria that you see there. We wanted to be sure that when we were selecting from a long, long list of identified needs down to that shorter list of significant needs, that we really took into consideration the severity or the burden on the community, the feasibility of actually establishing action steps or intervening and providing some interventions in terms of addressing those needs. Again, health disparities was one of our criteria. And of course, the community's viewpoint. How did they feel about how significant that need was? So our consultants worked really closely together. They did a great job of meeting by themselves, aside from our work group meetings, to kind of compare notes and look at secondary and primary data together and then pull together themes for us. And so then we would take that information as a work group, and we had two separate prioritization sessions, one in February and one in March. We went through several iterations of trying to pare that list of 12 needs down to the 6 that you'll see in the next slide. These are the top 6 significant needs that were identified through all of the data collection. You can see behavioral health, economic stability, healthcare access and quality, housing and homelessness, sexually transmitted infections, and systemic racism and racial disparities. These are in alphabetical order, not ranked order by any means. So again, the next steps for the hospital will be, because we are required to now write what's called an implementation strategy, and the hospital will prioritize from this list what needs they will then take action on. So they'll say, we're going to select behavioral health and maybe healthcare access, and then we'll develop strategies to address those specific prioritized needs, and then we'll also publicly post that as well. The entire report will be publicly posted on the hospital website no later than June 30th. There I do believe it is on the health department website already, and I'm able to send that to anyone who is interested in seeing it. Of course, the actual report itself has a lot more information than what I have shared with you today. Lots of graphs and charts and all of the questions that we asked in the survey and in the focus groups. Lots of detailed information about each of the prioritized needs and the significant needs. So be aware that that's very much available to you. We were just here to just give you a very small piece of that. Next slide. I think Jim's gonna talk a little bit about a chip.
Thanks, Jody. What I love about Jody is she has really a great foundation in public health. We've worked together in the past in local public health departments. So she's got a great understanding of what we do at the local level with the programs that we provide. This is, I think, the 5th cycle of community or these types of assessments. I've been involved in 3 in Kalamazoo County and 2 in Calhoun County. What I think is important to note up front with these needs assessment in Kalamazoo County is we've come a long way in 3 cycles. When we started initially, both health systems did it separately. We would, try to get them to the table. The 2 cycles ago, that was more coordinated, and they did come to the table. In the past, they've created their own needs assessment. Remember, these are both regional health systems, so they're providing service in communities outside of Kalamazoo County, and that is, that's always been a challenge. But this year it's been better than ever, and Jody is really to be commended for that work as the lead person in this work. I have staff members that participate on a very regular basis, particularly our epidemiologist, Kim Kutzko, and our health education division as well. One of the things that we haven't really talked about and that NACCHO really recommends, the National Association really recommends, is in addition to a community health needs assessment, which are great, but oftentimes these are documents that are created and, they do drive the work that we do. And in previous years, you've seen maternal infant health on these lists. And, the advent of entities like, all of the work that we do under the Cradle umbrella is really a coordinated effort that really has helped us get, better with some of those indicators. But what other communities have done at the national level is develop what's called the Community Health Improvement Plan based upon the work and the outcomes of the needs assessment. I'm just going to go through real quickly about what a CHIP is. It really utilizes the results, again, of the community health assessment. It's a long-term approach to address health problems based upon the results of that needs assessment. It's typically done usually in partnership or in unison with the needs assessment. It's not limited to, and I'm sorry, when you look at that list of indicators, it's not just limited to public health. I mean, if you look at all of those, and Dina, can you go back to that list? Right there. If you look at that's really the village. That's the entire, community. That's ISK. That's the business community. That's economic development. That's our health systems, our primary care environments. Obviously, we know that housing is a huge issue. Homelessness is a huge issue for our community. We continue to struggle with sexually transmitted infections. And then everything woven into that with disparities is always part of the framework of what we look at. So they're great documents, and again, they're but sometimes they end up on the shelves, and then we go about what we do. Not all the time, and obviously this is a very focused community where when we see a problem, we really attack that. So if we can go back to that first CHIP slide, Dina. Right there. So if a CHIP is developed, it involves a very comprehensive, collaborative, community-wide effort to identify, analyze, and address these problems in the community. And then really there has to be ownership. So what Jody alluded to with her system, they're going to go back and they're going to look at what areas that are they going to be focusing on. Next slide, Dina. So when we talk about the steps that would be necessary to create a community health improvement plan, it's really, we're there. Obviously, we've got a history of what I believe to be completing good quality community health assessments. We've got a history with that. We have, I think, in place community members. It's getting people on a shared vision, and then prioritizing, who's doing what and what are we putting our energy and our resources towards. Creating goals, strategies, and then ownership is a big part of that as well. Who's doing what, who's responsible for what, action planning, and then ultimately implementation. And then, the final three areas of consideration are really the evaluation on a regular basis, and then tracking and reporting the progress that's being made. And I think we do a pretty good job with, reporting progress and data, securing data, disseminating data as well. And then really, this can't be a one-time, initiative. It's got to be something that we commit to, that there's sustainability in the process in order for it to just not be a one-time thing. So then what's the feasibility in the community? Next slide, please, Dina. If we're interested in this, it's really sitting down with the four primary partners, the two health systems, as well as the family health center, and then, local public health, to say as a group, we've talked about this, we talk about this after these cycles. Are we interested in really the commitment and the time and energy to be able to develop the CHIP and to be able to develop the format to be successful at long-term, utilization, implementation of it? And then if indeed those primary, players are interested in that, then we would start engaging external, partners, because that's really where the work has to take place. I do want to just kind of glance over some of the challenges that I alluded to earlier. Working with 2 regional health systems, you know, they've got a lot of things that they're looking at, and Kalamazoo's not just it. And even when we go to those 6 areas of focus, you know, they're not going to be, you know, working on each and every one the way they're going to prioritize on, you know, their own list internally. And then I would imagine, and I said to Jody, you know, in the last couple of days talking about this, I would imagine some of the commissioners are going to say, why are we just hearing about a chip? Why haven't we had this conversation in the past? And again, that goes back to our 3rd cycle. You know, I don't know if we have historically been ready for a chip. If I can't get my health systems to sit down and do one unified report, then we probably weren't ready for a chip. I think we're much further along now than we were, you know, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And then, you know, I think COVID, you hate to blame COVID, but COVID also had something to do with that, the last cycle as well. And then really you got to look at, you know, what are the resources that are going to be necessary for this? It could easily be a full-time position. Where would that position be housed? How would that position be paid for? So, you know, these are things that I didn't want to not take the opportunity. I wanted to make you aware of the needs assessment, but I also wanted you to make you aware of what, you know, some communities do after the development of a needs assessment to assure that it just not is we checked off that affordable care box. So that's really all I've got. If you've got any questions for either Jody or I.
Questions from commissioners? Vice
I'm
Chair Pro
bringing up
Tem.
my brain trust here. So.
Absolutely. Welcome back. Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. A very good presentation. Thank you for all your hard work in doing this. You brought up several of the kind of things that I was thinking about here is, one, you're talking about more staffing, who's going to pay for it, you know, and it sounds to me like you need to collaborate also with our housing department and you know, about 400 dozen other organizations within not just the county, but the state and our local governments. It sounds pretty complex to me is what I'm saying, I guess. And it sounds like it's going to need a lot of work if we're going to do this chip thing. And are the hospitals willing to step up and help with the funding, the manpower, person power, whatever you want to call it this week? And are we going to be able to coordinate with many of the resources that are already being taxed for these type of things, such as the housing and the health and that type of stuff that's going on? Just a question, I guess, or is this coming back to the county to try to find a position and find funding and housing or a place to put this person or persons? Sounds like it's going to need more than one.
I think I think we just wanted to present what next steps would look like. Not necessarily that this group needs to identify a person and fund a position. Technically, when I've worked with many other counties in Michigan on CHIPs or CHIPs, and technically through those, the local health department has been the lead agency, but everyone contributes funding, staffing, resources. So while they are the folks who gather everyone to the table, you know, have the meetings convened maybe at their location. In Allegan County, the Community Foundation is the lead agency, and they have over 50 organizations that are a part of their collaborative that work on the CHIP effort that Allegan County has been involved in. And so it just kind of differs by community, but there's lots of good examples of how that looks and how they have funded the positions that they have that run the CHIP work. I would say, to be perfectly honest, I don't know how Beacon Health will approach this work when they become what is now Ascension, when they become Beacon in a few weeks. That will be up, you know, that leadership will need to be involved in. What I know about them so far is they're very community focused. So it will be a question for them. We all know Bronson is very community focused. I would not be surprised if they decide to help, although I cannot speak on behalf of Bronson, obviously. It takes everyone though, and it's not just one organization that leads the charge completely or funds the entire endeavor, for sure.
And I think to add to that, Jody and I have, we've in particular the last couple of conversations with representatives of those primary partners around the table, we both expressed, from a public health perspective, that is best practice, basically, is to have a chip, but it's a huge lift. And it's going to take, a lot of, as Commissioner Hepler alluded to, it's going to take a lot of partnership, a lot of collaboration to be effective. And you've seen the amount of work that's gone into infant mortality. I mean, that's just a significant amount of work, and you've got 6 more items on the list there. I'm not trying to diminish the need for it, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands that it's a big undertaking for a community.
Thank you. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Is this isn't big, it's huge. And it's going to be pretty expensive from the sound of it. And I just was trying to get a grasp of kind of what we're looking at and we've got a lot of people, a lot of departments that are already overworked and understaffed, and our administration is trying to put pieces together for everything under the sun. And so I appreciate the great report. I'm just curious I think we need some more information really to move ahead, but I'm just sharing my thoughts as Commissioner 1.
Other questions? Right, so I have a couple. So thank you so much. I always enjoy the opportunity to look through the needs assessment. So I would welcome the detailed report.
Okay.
And I encourage commissioners, if you're inclined, as local elected officials and policymakers, we're going to have primarily budget decision authority to see ourselves as partners in this work about public health. It's not just something happening out in the community, but it's something we all need to actively engage in too, and have it as a focus in the way that we strategize what we're doing to the resources. Many of the issues elevated there, we're directly working on as a board. So I welcome that information. I think, the sort of challenge is, you have data, you have well-informed information to help drive policy, but without a clear plan, it's like throwing darts in the wind, right? So I think a chip is essential, and though it'll be a lot of work for the community to get together, to convene, to collaborate, and to launch this process, it then has the opportunity to be an ongoing process that we strengthen over time. So as we're coming to budget season, I would encourage us to sort of identify what resourcing is needed at HCS to help be a lead collaborator with our partners as we engage in the other dialogue that's needed. And for this board to really strongly consider the value of that. We know this can help inform us when we're reviewing housing applications that come through, when we are trying to identify what we're doing to prioritize recruitment for employees that then work in public health, or, there's a lot of ways that we can impact this as a group. So I just want to voice my support for that. One specific question, the strategies around the data gaps for seniors. Has there been some identified methodology you'll use in the future to try to improve that? our seniors are a growing segment of our population and important. So I'd like to hear if we have thoughts.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we did do a debrief after everything was said and done without the consultants in the room, kind of okay, how did that go? How do we, avoid some of those gaps again in data collection and things like that? The good news is that, as I think I mentioned, Bronson will not be publishing their report until the end of the year because that is their IRS cycle. They still have opportunity to collect additional data. It won't go into this final report, but it will be used. Often they do an addendum or an addition to that report. I think, yes, that if assuming we would be using the same consultants again, we would make a concerted effort to make better connections with those organizations. It has been a trend, though, surprisingly, in every hospital. I've worked on the Southeast Michigan health needs assessments this past year as well. That was a trend among every single hospital, was reaching out and getting connected to having them call us back or email us back or whatever to participate in data collection.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, anecdotally, these are probably assumptions, but the more we rely on technology to gather data online, survey processes, email, I mean, these are ways that are difficult for seniors to
well, I'm
interact
referring to
with.
the organizations that serve seniors.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We went to the seniors in Allegan, like physically in
Right.
person, because we knew that technology would be
Yes.
an issue. So,
So, and I'm glad you recognize
yeah,
that.
definitely.
Thank you very much. There any other questions? All right. Thank you both
Thank
so
you.
much for your
Thanks for having
presentation. Okay, we'll move to our next item, which is our first reading of the request for approval of a resolution to authorize administrator controller to enter into contract negotiations with the city of Kalamazoo to form the Kalamazoo County Event Center Assessment District Authority. Administrator, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Thank you, Chair. No, not at this time. Thank you, though.
Thank you, yes. All right, no questions from commission? Yes, thank you so much. Vice Chair, and then we'll go to Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Yeah, I know that when we were first discussing this, we had talked about, the needs or not the needs of having an authority based with the city or whatever municipality we associated with. I had stated at that time, I do not think that we need, since we are the county, are the ones that are collecting the assessments. We're also the ones that are bonding out. We're using our bonding capacity to do this. I mean, I've got no problem with the location. I've got no problem with any of that. I just kind of have a question of, and I guess the reason that we said that we needed to have a municipality teamed up with the county authority, and we needed to have a bilateral or whatever authority, was because we needed the infrastructure that was going to come in with this place. Well, this location is, I think it's like 70-30 in Kalamazoo, and it's also in Oshtemo Township. The infrastructure that will need to be replaced or changed, a vast majority of it at least, would be Oshtemo Township. Would it not? So that's why I think, why did we go with an authority with the city of Kalamazoo as opposed to having our own county authority?
So my understanding, Vice Chair, the actual taxing authority of this parcel is wholly the city of Kalamazoo. So it's part of sort of the weird borders that we have here, but this is sort of a little nub that sticks up the city of Kalamazoo.
Correct. That wasn't my
Yeah.
question. Was why are we, even if it was in the city of Kalamazoo, Augusta, Vicksburg, why are we? And I guess we had already approved this 2 meetings ago, or the last meeting. But why are we having and forming an authority with any other entity when it's us that's doing the stuff?
Corporation Counsel.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. As this body had deliberated the ordinance which controls all of this, and those issues were discussed, this body determined, as is written in the ordinance, that there shall be a partner in a local entity, if you will, such as Oshtemo, Kalamazoo, or what have you. And so if this body does wish to take on just being the county, that would require an ordinance amendment and going through the process. I just want to make the body aware of that. Thank you.
And
Vice Chair. Thank you, Council. So in order to, if we deliberate further and it's decided to wholly host this within the county, what does that create delay potentially for the execution of the authority and the development of the property?
Madam Chair, I'm not exactly sure, but I think that there would have to be required some looking at some negotiations and some things, as there are already some expectations within the community, and some items have already been put into place, such as the assessment. So those type of things would have to all be looked at, and I can't give a complete answer that I'm confident in right now in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you. One more follow-up, and then I'll go to Vice Chair. Are there potential pitfalls in a shared authority with another local entity that we should be aware of, that you would foresee?
Madam Chair, that would be something that would have to be assessed. But having said that, there are potential pitfalls in just the county doing it itself. So I think it becomes a balancing test for this body to determine about what it's willing to take on and what it's willing to do. Thank you.
Thank you for your insight, Council. Vice Chair.
thank you. And as a member of this body, I would, I had said that previously 2 meetings ago that I was not in favor of going into negotiations. Now, that was wrapped up in, I think it was like page 6 of the one that we did vote on unanimously to go with a KCEA-CAD district as opposed to a county authority. This is my opinion. With a county authority, and I really don't want to hold this up on this issue, but and again, I have to express my concern. A county authority, we are the ones that are appointing the members. With a county city authority, that's going to be negotiated. How many members we get appointed, how many members don't get appointed? Do they have to be approved by both bodies? All this stuff will be negotiated, and how that works. But again, we are the ones collecting the revenue through the treasurer's office. We're the ones using our bonding ability through the county's bonding. Why are we sharing? And the reason given, I think it was a month and a half ago, that we need to do this was because the infrastructure costs for this facility that would be surrounding whatever parcel that we picked, the infrastructure costs would probably be a big burden for that local municipality. Well, this municipality, which is in the city of Kalamazoo, I believe Ashtmo traded it up for some sewer things or something that did or did not happen. I'm not sure. But it was transferred a few years back to the city of Kalamazoo, but it's right on the line. All the infrastructure that will need to take place for this traffic patterns will be down the West Main corridor. And I know Ashtmo Township has been arguing about that Ashtmo corridor for a long time. Now, I don't want to delay this project. I'm probably still going to vote for this, but I just wanted to express my concerns one last time. As we move forward as an authority, we are giving up our power in this, and we're doing all the work. So I'm just for the record.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Council.
This body is still the appointing authority for all the members of the the proposed authority. They'll be recommended to you, but you do have the final say so. Thank you.
Vice Chair.
Okay, so what is the negotiation? I guess I reread that bar and civic clerk. What is the negotiation that we'd be approving Dr. Catlin and the city to go into negotiations for?
Go ahead, Council.
Thank you. That may be very specific things related to the authority and what the authority intends to do, including physicalities, including who may be recommended for appointment to the authority. And there are a number of things that negotiation may take place, but this body has the final say so in all those matters. Thank you.
I believe by our authority or the motion that we passed, we get recommendations that we can either say yay or nay to. We can't say, oh, I don't like this person, I want to appoint Dale to the authority. It's not like we have that authority to do that. We just have the yay or nay based on the previous resolution. Am I correct in that?
I'd have to look at it specifically, and I say that because there are certain, like, and I'm just saying this because I don't have it in front of me, but 3 are recommended from this body. 3 are recommended here. 3 may be recommended from the scholar for Sir Kalamazoo. So it's just not about a yay or a nay thing. But my only thing is that this body knows that it has that final say. So whatever you desire to do and tell me to do, that's what I'll do. Thank you.
And I am going to vote for this. I have tremendous respect for Dr. Catlin, and the reason I'm kind of making this stink is as he goes into these negotiations, understand the concerns. Perhaps Oshtemo Township, which will probably need a TIF district or some sort of downtown development authority that makes sense with county policies in order to capture the type of revenue that they're going to need to have the ingress egress there. There's a lot of development that's going to be happening on that Drake West Main corridor. And in my opinion, I think the representation should not just be the city of Kalamazoo if we are to do it this way, but appoint somebody that represents the planning interests of Oshtemo Township as well. I think it would behoove and make this project even more successful.
Waiting so patiently, Vice Chair Pro Tem.
No problem. A very good discussion. It leads into exactly what I've been cornered on a couple times now already. Oshtemo Township is concerned about not kind of being asked to be at the table, seeing as how this is going to affect them probably as much, if not more, than the city. The property was theirs at one point in time. They did deed it over to the city for use. I believe it was for water or something at that point, and then that didn't come through. So they'd asked to get it back, and thus the city said no, and they kept it, which is fine. But I think we need to look at the partnership between the county, the city, the townships. This is supposed to be a county-wide program, not just a one city issue. And I think it's important that we ask that we get Oshtemo at the table, we get the city at the table. We probably should be talking to MDOT and County Road also to bring about the infrastructure that's needed. Water, sewer, that's there. That's easy. Roads, that's doable, but it's going to take some time to get it all put together. And I think time is of the essence, and we need to move this thing forward. And I concur with the vice chair that we're going to support this, but we need to have everybody at the table that needs to be there. And I've already had Oshtemo asking for them to be at the table. I shared that with Dr. Kaplan. He said that was probably doable, but I haven't seen a list yet, so I don't know who's coming. Thank you.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Thank you, Chair. I feel like there's a lot of speculation being thrown around at this moment in time. I know for a fact Discover Kalamazoo has contacted almost every single potential partner within this project, including Oshtemo. So whoever's talking to you at Oshtemo should probably contact Discover Kalamazoo, because I know that they have done a lot of legwork. And so, you know, there's no, I don't think anybody in this wants to not include Oshtemo Township. That is not the goal. The goal is to include all of our community partners. And I think that is a big goal of Discover Kalamazoo and the county in general. I mean, we never want to leave anybody out. And I think, frankly, that the city of Kalamazoo would be a fantastic partner in this. And I know Vice Mayor Gene Hess is very excited about this project.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner DeLue.
No, I just feel I have to speak up, although I'm so glad to hear this discussion tonight because I represent Oshtemo and I was contacted by them just days ago, and their public works director would really appreciate being part of the infrastructure planning. They have a board member who would like to sit on the advisory board for this committee, and I'm just actually I was going to ask for the support of this board tonight, but it sounds like I have it. So they're just express their concerns about being involved, and it sounds like hopefully we're going to make that happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just want to clarify with Administrator Catlin, because I've heard a couple of commissioners articulate that the water infrastructure is already present in the location. And my understanding is there needs to be a significant expansion of the water infrastructure. It isn't present in the location. That's an investment the city of Kalamazoo has to endeavor. Can you clarify, Dr. Catlin? Is that your understanding as well?
So yes, Chair Strebs and Board of Commissioners. So my understanding is that it'll be a partnership, but that this assessment will cover some of that infrastructure extension into that parcel because there is no infrastructure, water and sewer there currently.
Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, anything further? Commissioner DeLuke?
Just a brief history. This land was given to the city by Ashtamont to be used as a cemetery. They did not utilize it. And as the Commissioner Hepler said, they asked for it back and they said no. So Ashtamont deserves something here.
Explains the weird shape of this in our the contiguous lines of the municipalities. Thank you. All right, anything else with that? Okay, we'll move forward. Good discussion. We'll go to first reading for request for approval of the Summer Learning Day proclamation for 2025. Both of these items will come forward at a regular meeting in the future. Any questions on this one? Comments? Okay, great. All right, that's posted for first reading. We'll move on to item 6, which is our closed session. Commissioner Wheeler, always on the spot with our motions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. There are two, so don't run away after the first one. I move that the Board of Commissioners functioning as a committee of the whole go into a closed session pursuant to Section 8H of MCL 15.268, the Open Meetings Act, for the purpose of considering a written legal opinion regarding the implications of Presidential Executive Orders 14151 and 14173.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any discussion? Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner DeLuke,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales.
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Yes.
9 yes.
That motion carries. Commissioner Wheeler.
In the second motion, I move that the Board of Commissioners functioning as a committee of the whole go into a closed session pursuant to Section 8D of MCL 15.268, the Open Meetings Act, for the purpose of considering the purchase or lease of real property related to the proposed youth sports facility complex.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, again, please call the roll.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLuke.
Yes.
9 yes.
That motion carries. At this time, we'll adjourn to the call of the chair. I'll call Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners Committee of the Whole back to order. Commissioner Wheeler, motion.
I make a motion to come out of the first closed session.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. That motion carries.
And now I will make a motion to approve the first closed session minutes.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. The approval of the minutes from the first closed session. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. That motion carries. Commissioner Wheeler.
I now move to come out of the second closed session.
Okay, I got moved by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Commissioner DeLue to come out of the second closed session. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. That motion carries. Commissioner Wheeler.
I now move to approve the second closed session minutes.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler to approve the minutes from our second closed session. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, with that, we've wrapped the business and we are adjourned. All right, it is 6:30. I'm going to call to order Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting for June 17th, 2025. Our first item is our invocation and reflection, and will be led by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler.
Oh, my turn.
It's your turn. Is that all right?
Please join me in invocation. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us. And please guide us as we work through the many issues that support our communities, our people, our businesses. Help us to make those kind of decisions that you would approve. And help us to guide those in our community to the good things that you do and have brought to us in this life and in our community. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Thank you, Vice Chair Pro Tem. Item 3 will go to roll call. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Vice Chair Pro Tem Heffler.
Here.
Commissioner Mazer. Commissioner Morales. Commissioner Ray. Chair Strebs.
Here.
Vice Chair Taylor.
Here.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Here.
Commissioner DeLue.
Here.
Commissioner Gisler.
Here.
8 present.
Thank you. And Commissioner Mazer has gone home for the evening, so we appreciate her participation earlier. We'll go to item 4, it's proclamations. There are none before us this evening. To item 5, communications. Acceptance of item 2025-594, Finance Department's annual report. So I have item 2025-361, Genesee County Resolution 2025-1808, recognizing June 19th as Juneteenth in Genesee County. And item 2025-632, the Genesee County Resolution number 2025-1789, recognizing the month of June 2025 as Pride Month in Genesee County. Are there any other communications from members? All right, seeing none. Let's go to item 6, approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion for a request for approval of the June 3rd Committee of the Whole and regular meeting draft minutes.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Morales, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. That motion carries. Go to item 7, approval of the agenda as presented.
I approve the agenda. I motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Motion made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Wheeler for the approval of the agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, we'll go to item 8. It's an opportunity for presentations. There are none. Item 9, opportunity for public hearings. There also are none, which brings us to item 10, public comment. Public comment can be made in person or by phone. Members of the public can call 855-925-2801 to enter the meeting code 10748 and press #3 to join the speaker queue. Callers may request to join the speaker queue at any time during our meeting before the final public comment period later has ended. You'll be permitted to speak during the specific public comment session for which you requested to join. If you wish to speak during both public comment periods, you must press #3 again after the first session concludes. Speakers will be recognized in the order their requests are received. Members present in chambers can join us at the podium. Please share your name, where you're from, and you have an opportunity to address the board on any topic for up to 3 minutes. This is a chance to provide feedback to us in a professional and respectful manner. Do we have anybody wishing to make public comment? Welcome to you.
I don't know what else I did with all the buttons I pushed. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Dave Rackwitz. I'm the director of Kalamazoo County Parks and Expo Center. I'm here to share some exciting news that's been happening in the Kalamazoo County Park System. This past week was the first week that the new Woolham Preserve went to open 7 days a week. So we're just beyond 7 days of that. The YMCA has been doing youth programming out at the site, which is great to see a bunch of 4, 5, 6-year-olds every day out enjoying the facilities. Today, I also want to share that our kayak rental system went live. So we now have kayak rentals available for the public to use out on Bass Lake. You can go fishing, just go for a nice peaceful kayak ride around the lake. We are planning a ribbon cutting and a grand opening ceremony. You will all be part of that. It's going to be in September. So we'll be getting some save the dates out to you here shortly, hopefully by the end of this week. But we sort of a quiet opening, but obviously the public is invited to come out and use and enjoy the park facilities there at the new Woolham Preserve. The other thing I just want to share is that June 19th, this Juneteenth is going to be a free day at the parks. As a tradition we started, we're partnering this year with Comstock and the city of Portage. It's a way to celebrate sort of Juneteenth, the start of summer, get people out to enjoy the parks and have fun time with their family and friends. So we invite everyone in the public, come out to a county park. If you haven't been to Woolham yet, it's a great opportunity to come out for free. So, but all of the county parks, you can go swimming, splash pad, all those facilities are available for free to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Reckwitz. Are there any others? And Dina, do we have anyone online?
Chair, we do not.
All right, we'll close our first public comment. We'll move to item 11, our consent agenda. Entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Commissioner Morales. The consent agenda items be voted on at one time and be considered consent agenda by the board. Any further discussion? Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Stubbs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries and the consent agenda is approved. We'll now go to item 13, which is our new business non-consent. Entertain a motion for approval to accept the youth sports facility ad hoc committee site recommendation for the Westgate property.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Commissioner Morales. Do we have any further discussion? Good, we've had great discussion. Seeing none, we'll move forward. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Stubbs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu.
Yes.
8 yes.
That motion carries. Congratulations. It's an exciting project to move forward in the community. All right, it takes us already to item 14, which is our second opportunity for public comment. Seeing no one joining us in chambers. Dina, do we have anyone online? Hearing of none, I'm going to close public comment. We'll go to item 15 is a report from officers, bodies, administrator, controller. So I'll begin. I'm going to take a few minutes just to comment. A lot of important things happening in our own community. We advanced the work on the youth sports facility that's been in process a long time. I want to give congratulations to Discover Kalamazoo and all of our municipal partners, the ad hoc committee, including Commissioners Wheeler and Morales, that participated in dialogue and helped recommend site selection to us. It's an exciting opportunity, and I love to see family-focused and youth-focused growth in the community that I think will benefit us all for a long time forward. So congratulations on that. I wish a belated happy Father's Day to my sweet dad, John, who is working on getting stronger. He's been keeping me busy the last couple of weeks. But, you know, just recognizing the importance and the value of our elders in our lives and in our community. We had some discussion earlier today around the health needs assessment. Just, you know, seeing a gap and getting feedback from seniors, just looking for the places where we not only recognize the value of our seniors, but the wisdom that they have to impart and share with us. You know, they built the community we live in. They built the industries that we work in. They built the nation that we love. And it's on us to defend and advance that work. We've seen a week marred by very frightening political violence. I will, as I always will, and I think anyone of ilk would decry such violence. Folks who need to win political argument through violent suppression, murder, kidnapping, are folks that do not have the wherewithal to build consensus and have the ideas to champion that they can win through public opinion. Political violence, to be frank, pardon my French, is complete bullshit and should be absolutely decried and never executed in our nation. And I stand firmly in opposition, so I know my colleagues here do as well. We will advance our work through disagreements that we have, through respectful and peaceful dialogue, and through democratic processes. I wanted to spend also a moment. We live in, you know, we are all feeling this. It is such a strange time that we're in. We are living in sort of odd, diverging realities. And I want to just key us into a couple of things to just elevate your awareness to. And when you're hearing language like this, you know, there's people who can say this much more articulately than I can, but a lot of terminology gets thrown around. People get called communists and fascists, and they get called this and they get called that. And, you know, sometimes I think people don't understand maybe what some of the terminology means. And so I wanted to elevate the word fascism, and I want to make sure that we're describing what that is accurately. So that's a far-right ideology. It is an ultra-nationalist ideology. What does that mean? So ultra-nationalism is when the mother country is more important than any individual, that individuals, you know, if need be, can be crushed to the benefit of the nation. That is an ultra-nationalist ideology. It revolves around dictatorial power. Dictatorial power rules by decree. It crushes and suppresses opposition through brutality and retaliation. And it is also based on a mythology of a central leader, that leader being the only leader capable of advancing the forward progress of the nation. keep that in mind as we hear this term fly around and be applied to differing individuals. Where do we see such ideology exacting itself, and what impact does that have? What we are is a democracy, a republic. And a republic is defined by the people. It's a free enterprise and a free exercise granted by the governed. That's who we are as a nation. And I just want to share, I had the opportunity, probably as some others here, hopefully in the room or in the community, there were mass demonstrations across the country this weekend of millions of people in their outpouring of patriotism and support for the principles of ideology, of mutual respect, of responsibility to one another, not of the degradation of others or the brutalization of others to advance an end, but a collective movement of freedom. We stand with that in this community. And when we stand with that as a nation, we will be able to overcome what comes in front of us. It may not be easy to overcome those things, but we have the capacity because it is who we are, inherent within ourselves. This board is a good example of that. We have differing viewpoints, and we can work constructively together. We can be collegiate with each other. We can advance progress together despite our differences. So I just want to commend and thank the entire Kalamazoo County community for coming out and participating. It will not be the last time that we engage in the work. It is the beginning of the work, and a reminder that as we overcome maybe the current challenges in front of us to advance forward, that work doesn't ever end. It is always work that we must engage in. We must recommit to it. One other piece of language I want to make sure we're called attention to is when we hear people using dehumanizing language. And I want you to take a minute and look around you. And I want you to do this every day when you're in the community. Look around you. Make eye contact with the people around you. Smile at the people around you. The people, they hold a humanity. Whenever you hear leaders speak of others as inhuman opposition, no, it is not a leader that speaks to you, but a charlatan who is trying to undermine the fabric of our society. Look around you. We are a community. We stand as a community and we survive as one. Okay. I know, I get on all that soapbox every time. Be so much of that. So much of that.
Well, we've got the video footage for your first commercial for governor. But no, I completely agree with the chairs, specifically, especially as it relates to political violence. There's absolutely no place for that in our country, in our democracy. On more county note, I'm looking forward to the budget process. Very much looking forward to the budget process. I think we have an opportunity. I've always said any municipality shows its values with its budget. That's what we, you can say and you can proclaim and you can do where your values are, where you put your dollars. So I'm really excited to do that. I'm also excited we have a new person on our building authority. I think he's going to do great work. I think he's really going to hit the ground running. And other note, a happy Father's Day to everybody out there. I hope you had an enjoyable Father's Day. I did. It was really nice. So hopefully everybody else got to enjoy their family as well. Probably too early for Bo's bed, so I won't say it.
Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. We have a lot to be thankful for, and we have many blessings here that we need to be thankful for. And there's a lot of opportunity here in Kalamazoo and in this area in the state of Michigan. And we need to move forward on those potential great things that you can do as an individual for your family, your community, your county, your city, your state, and our country. And I think we need to all move forward in that direction. As has been already said, political violence is not the way to govern, and we shouldn't support that or be akin to that. We need to be supportive of our laws and our rules and work to keep our communities safe. For that, we need to, I think, constantly thank our military for our strength in keeping us safe here, our local law enforcement, our local firemen, our local ambulance folks. We need to thank our employees here at Kalamazoo County for the hard work they do. And as Commissioner Vice Chair Taylor said, our budget is important. We need to keep in mind our backbone of our county, which is our employees. So we need to take care of them in a manner that gives them the opportunity to continue to serve our citizens and our businesses here. And I'm hoping that we will keep that in mind while we work through our budget, and then keep in mind all of the people in the county that we do serve, and that's what we're here for, is to serve all of the people, not just in the city, but outside of the city, into the counties and the townships. We have many programs that we're trying to fund and make work. And during their budget time, I'm looking forward to making sure that we cover those bases and make sure that we're getting things done for our citizens and our community. With that, have a safe week. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrator Dr. Catlin.
All right. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, and Commissioners. Happy to be back. And I've been absent the last two meetings, but there's no place I'd rather be but here. So with you all. So, well, hey, so a couple of quick things I wanted to address. One actually stems from Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler's comments on just thanking the staff and how just the incredible staff that we have. Obviously, the last two meetings ran very smoothly without my presence, and that's because we have phenomenal staff. One of the other things I wanted to point out too, because you all don't get to see this every day, is that I actually met with one of our employees in a different department, and they reached out to me to participate in an interview session as they are pursuing a Master of Public Administration degree. And so that degree is more attainable for them because of the increase in tuition benefits that the county board approves. So I wanted to let you know that folks are going out and they're credentialing or they're obtaining advanced degrees or maybe even their bachelor's degree because of that tuition reimbursement assistance that the county now offers that covers not only tuition but the fees as well. So I just wanted to let you know that that's going a long way, and employees really do appreciate it. So I wanted to, I have four things to discuss and just to update you all on. One is I wanted to make a public statement regarding the courthouse repair. As you know, the last county board meeting, the board approved a settlement agreement with Tower, Pinkster, and their insurance carrier to reimburse us for some costs. One of the things that MLive did was publish an article that actually used the word recoup, and we felt that that just really wasn't representative of the actual situation. And so really this issue was identified during the construction control quality process, or quality control process rather, and the resolution was handled collaboratively with Tyler Pinkster and their insurance carrier. And so at no point did the county really experience any financial loss or engage in a dispute requiring any sort of recovery of funds. And so distinguish between recoup and reimburse. And so we shared that perspective with MLive, and I really want to commend them for their willingness to, really listen to us and honor and consider our position. So as a result, they actually did revise their headline and the use of the term, and they replaced recoup with reimburse, which accurately more describes the transaction that really took place and avoids implying that there was a loss to the county over that or any sort of adversarial situation. So we really do, like I said, commend MLive for their transparency and accuracy in reporting, and appreciate their open dialogue as we kind of work through those issues, because our community partners mean everything to us. We work with a lot of folks and a lot of vendors, and so we wanted to make sure we had that story right. And it's all about language. The settlement really, lawsuits and settlements mean certain things in certain contexts, and so we wanted to make sure that language was right. More timely speaking, emergency management, severe weather forecast. There's severe weather forecasted for tomorrow, so emergency management is closely monitoring the potential for severe weather. Between really the hours of 2 p.m. and 11 p.m. tomorrow. While Kalamazoo County currently falls within the marginal risk category, the National Weather Service has indicated an elevated threat for damaging wind and with gusts up to 60 miles per hour or more. And so there's also a medium risk for hail and isolated tornado activity. So some morning storms may also occur ahead of the main system. So our emergency management team will be monitoring those conditions and will communicate updates through social media and our rave alert system if applicable or warranted. We also encourage residents to remain weather aware throughout the day, whether that be following the National Weather Service, the Sheriff's Office, Emergency Management, and or having access to their weather radio as well if they have one. Other storm recovery and community resources updates. I know the last board meeting we talked about some of these, and so I'm just following up. But the city of Galesburg was successfully connected to local recovery partners, including the Kalamazoo Community Foundation, United Way, and After the Storm. So those organizations remain available as key resources for municipalities and individuals that are in need of support, particularly those seeking financial assistance or housing related assistance. So I encourage all local officials, County Board of Commissioners, and residents impacted by storm damage to reach out to those providers. And then we also understand at this point in time that Galesburg is awaiting some responses from their insurance carrier for additional assistance. So lastly, on the road closure signs, we have a meeting scheduled tomorrow with the township supervisors where we're going to try to garner additional response on their specific needs so that we can begin ordering and purchasing signs. And I met with Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler before this meeting to garner perspective on what kind of signs would be needed. So we were working with the managing director to purchase a myriad of signs. And then lastly, and most importantly, the topic that Vice Chair really likes is budget process update. And so just a reminder, we have our budget retreat scheduled for July 29th from 12 to 5:30 at the Expo Center, the Kalamazoo County Parks Expo Center. And so the public is always encouraged to attend. The session will really provide an overview of the county's accomplishments over the past year, a detailed review of our financial outlook and emerging trends, and an opportunity to begin shaping the strategic budget priorities aligned with our 2025 through 2029 strategic plan. And then as a preview, last year's budget request, new funding requests for, totaled around 10.2 million. This year's requests are a little bit over 11 million, which is a clear reflection on departments beginning to align their requests and proposals with the county's strategic goals. And so we're still finalizing the full retreat packet, but rest assured you'll have the new funding requests by the time that retreat starts. And then lastly, what I wanted to just mention is that in recognition of Juneteenth, the county is closed, which is really a culmination of a celebration of freedom, resilience, and our ongoing to fight racial equality, or fight for racial equality, excuse me. And so, let me correct myself. Yeah, fight for racial equality. And so What I would say is that what I want to tell folks too, and remind them what Juneteenth is historically, right? Dating back to 1865, Juneteenth really commemorates the day when 250,000 slaves across the state of Texas, which became the last bastion for slavery during the final days of Civil War, were declared free by the U.S. Army. And so while we celebrate freedom, resilience, and our ongoing fight for racial equality, let's remember that and really take that to heart as we celebrate Juneteenth. So that's all I have this evening, and always happy to answer any questions if there are any, but otherwise I'll turn it back to you.
Vice Chair has a question.
Just on the budget process, I know with the switch to Munis and Tyler makes it hard to go back trending for 2-3 years. But how many, you don't have to answer this right away, but how many years are we planning on going back on the budget? Can we go back 3 now, at least?
Absolutely, Vice Chair. Yeah, absolutely. So I believe our finance director is actually preparing a 5-year trend. So so we'll be all set. Yep.
Great. Seeing Commissioner Gessler, do you have a question? No? Okay. Okay. Good. So you're off of the hook, Administrator Catlin. Thank you very much for your comments. All right. With that, we'll move to Commissioner comments. Anybody want to start? All right. Commissioner Duluth.
I just want to start by saying I, for one, appreciate Chair Streb's civics class / sermon at the end of these meetings. I actually learn something every time she speaks. Also, I want to point out tonight the sports center. We took just seconds to approve an agenda item, but I just want the public, the two of you that are watching, to realize, they don't realize the hours and the man hours and woman hours and that Discover Kalamazoo, has put into this. And even tonight, our closed door session, it's been discussed, it's been debated, and we voted on it and it took seconds, but it's really been a lot of work put into this. And I appreciate tonight from Discovery Kalamazoo, maybe some assurances that Ashmo Township will be involved in the planning and hopefully a seat on the board. And lastly, I hope tonight that, or soon, the administration, maybe the Parks Director can address the issues that this young lady had with the upcoming fair. I know she's pretty passionate about that. And I want to thank the board tonight for everything they've done to make Kalamazoo County a great place to live, work, and play.
Oh, gotcha.
Thank you, Commissioner Duluth. Commissioner Gessler.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to put ditto marks behind what Dale just said about the sports center. The energy and effort and time and dedication that went into getting this to the point where we could approve it almost, as an afterthought was just incredible. I take my hat off to you, Jane, and your associates. It couldn't have been any better. I can't imagine. And I don't like to throw words like that around, but it was wow. It was really impressive. And I have two, Taylor, are you still back there? Okay. Yeah, I want to pay homage to a couple of public information officers that I've encountered recently. And I'm sure they're, people just like you. And the one is Mark Warden of the Kalamazoo Road Commission. My involvement with him has been ongoing over years, but this is the first time I've ever been involved up to my earlobes in trying to do something for my own neighborhood. And he's been, absolutely a rock that we can bang things off of. And he's been getting back to us, and we aren't sure when we're going to get the street redone, maybe next spring, but he's been really helpful. And, we appreciate a public information officer that serves as an intermediate between the citizens and the engineers in the case of the Road Commission. And I would like to also talk about another public information officer, Derek Knopfs, who's the public information officer for Consumers Energy. And if that's not his official title, it should be. And he's going to be speaking on the 14th of July at 8:30 in the morning at Mark's Diner on Romance in Portage. And he's going to give us an update on all the things that have happened since he last spoke, which was, I think, almost 2 years ago. And we've since then had tornadoes. We've had trees out the wazoo come down. And we've had also a presentation about the restarting of the Palisades nuclear plant. So we're going to be talking energy again on the 14th. And everybody that wants to talk about energy is welcome to attend. 8:30, Mark's Diner, Portage, on the 14th. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gisler. Commissioner Morales.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Ray thought she was getting out of here. Just fine. So, couple things. Dr. Catlin, thank you to you and your team. I don't think I have ever been as involved in weather as I have been in these last couple of months, with up to the minute updates to join. I tried to join the webinar at 1:05 and it was over. I'm like, Kevin, what's up? But I just appreciate our new director. I'm just call her director of weather because my brain ain't working right now. But Brandy, yes, Brandy, I'm sorry. But I just, we were skeptical at first, just even with the position and bringing her in here. And I think she's just doing a fantastic job in making us be more prepared for our community, especially after the disasters that happened over the last 2 years. So I feel safe now. I know between 11 and 2, I need to be at home, not at work. No. Then I just to Dr. Catlin's sentiments about Juneteenth, just so he said everything correct. But the one thing is to know that these folks were slaves 2 years after slavery ended. And so they didn't know they were free. And as I reflect on Juneteenth and everything that's going on with this administration, political warfare, regardless of how we think other countries are run, I just feel like we are backtracking and going through some of these, I'm going to say some of these issues, the same things that we fought for over 400 years. So with that, I want you all, as we look to better our communities, just be aware of the cuts that this administration is bringing down upon us, from SWIMBA to people about to lose their jobs in September, to education cuts, which is our most vulnerable folks, our babies. So in the community college, we have some it's about 2%, but it's a lot. You have higher ed cuts, and then you have food cuts. I mean, people just voted to not have free food for our babies. And these are things that we need to think about. And if they're going to take that away from us, we as a community need to come together to figure out how we're going to fill that gap. Also, talk to Parks Director, and as far as things that were being removed, they were removed by the county and they will be put back. So to your sentiments, hopefully that answers some questions, and Dave can send us an updated email. But thank you for updating myself and Pro Tem Hepler on that. And then lastly, to Ghosh and her team, thank you so much. To Commissioner Wheeler for sitting in all of those meetings and being the lead on that, and having the opportunity to support a wonderful effort. I did get a chance to speak with Supervisor Bell, and it's just, she has some concerns, right? And so what I'll do is share her sentiments via Dr. Catlin, Ghosh's crew, and commissioners. And just, for the most part, she feels like this is a good project. But of course, being her area, she has concerns about traffic, traffic studies, them being at the table, who's paying for infrastructure, and who has a seat at that table. So I will take this from what she and I discussed and put it in the email, and hopefully we will come to a resolution to make sure that Ashtamo and her team feels inclusive in this project. So thanks to the board for everything, and you all have a safe night. Commissioner Wheeler.
Thank you, Chair. I want to start off by giving my condolences to State Rep Melissa Hortman and her husband, to their family, as they were tragically killed, and then to Senator John Hoffman and his wife, who were critically injured in the terrible violence that happened this past week. I have close friends who are in the state of Michigan who are state reps and state senators and have kids and families. And so I just could not imagine them going through the same thing that these folks are going through. So keep them in your thoughts. I cannot imagine what their families are facing at this moment in time. So with that, I'll move to a more positive note. Thank you to Discover Kalamazoo again. Just going to reiterate that it has been a labor of love. Many hours have gone into making this happen, and once again, it's going to put Kalamazoo on the map. So it's very, very exciting. Very looking forward to the different partnerships that we're going to develop in making Kalamazoo a great place to live, work, and play. Got you twice. And just stay weather aware tomorrow, as everybody has said. Please stay safe and have a fantastic week.
Thank you, Commissioner Ray.
Thank you, Chair. So I do not have a dissertation. I will say great comments from all of my colleagues. I also want to say congratulations and thank you to Jane for all of her work. She always is very knowledgeable, very thorough, share all the information. So thank you and great work to you and your team. And then just also want to put on record that Commissioner Gisler said he likes DEI. And that is all. Have a great night.
It declined the t-shirt, yes. All right. Thank you, everybody. With that, we're adjourned.